Today I'll be counting down the top 10 bucket list coasters in my opinion. I'll be telling you why I put them in their spots, how I judge them, and a few honorable mentions.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Alright guys, welcome back to another countdown. If you're new here and roller coasters are what you're into, then please consider subscribing for content all about roller coasters. So today I'll be counting down the top 10 coasters that I want to ride the most. I haven't really found out what I like the most in coasters, but I took some of the most insane coasters in the world and I picked 2 of them. Then I asked myself, which one would I rather want to ride? Whoever wins will move up a spot. But please remember that this is purely based off of what coasters I want to ride the most. So because of that, there are some very weird spots on this list. The coasters that I want to ride the most are different from most people's. So without further ado, let's get the honorable mentions out of the way. So, as always, I have 3 honorable mentions. Our first honorable mention is Fury 325 at Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina. This ride is a giga coaster and it has been voted the #1 coaster by the Golden Ticket Awards 3 years in a row. Even though the Golden Ticket Awards is a very controversial list, many people say that this is one of the best coasters in the world. I personally don't see it as #1, but in the top 10 for sure. But giga coasters are known for humongous drops. This drop looks so insane, it looks like it lasts forever. You're just falling for a very long time and it looks nuts. You're going through a lot of forceful turns, but what's special about them is that you're flying super fast, low to the ground, and that high dive element looks very cool. But overall, Fury 325 is a great coaster that's worth to mention. Our next honorable mention is King Ka at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey. This coaster is obviously the tallest roller coaster in the world, and a lot of people say it sucks. Its launch is rough, and it has plastic over-the-shoulder restraints, making for a pretty unenjoyable ride experience. But the reason why I want to ride it is very simple. I want to ride it just so that I could say that I've ridden the tallest roller coaster in the world. End of story. And our last honorable mention is Flying Dinosaur at Universal Studios Japan in, obviously, Japan. This coaster is actually the world's longest flying coaster, and this thing actually looks insane. It has elements that you don't usually see on B&M flyers. It has a fly-to-lie element, a Raven turn, and a pretzel loop, along with some inline twists. The only thing that stops me from putting it on this list is that I've watched the POV of this coaster that is not in the front row, and I noticed that I watched the feet in front shake, which means that this ride could have a rattle. I've never ridden a flying coaster yet, but I don't usually see these popping up more often, and that should be for a reason. But what is the reason? That I don't know. But flying coasters look like great rides, especially the really good ones. Now let's get into the actual list. At number 10, I have Expedition G-Force at Holiday Park, Germany. Expedition G-Force is an Intamin mega coaster, and many people rank this coaster really high, and I can see why. This coaster has a lot of very forceful moments. The drop looks insane. It has the same type of drop as DC Rivals. And this ride has a lot of sustained ejector airtime. I, for one, am a big fan of airtime, and this ride definitely has a lot of airtime. It's weird how this ride is under 200 feet because it acts a lot like a hyper. And plus, the setting looks amazing too. You're flying above trees and it looks amazing. Expedition G-Force is definitely a coaster that I want to ride. Coming in at number 9, I have Wood Coaster at Night Valley, China. This is considered by many, including me, the best GCI Woody. It looks absolutely insane. I love GCIs already because of how appealing they are, and the sensation of speed is great. Along with that, GCIs have very cool snappy transitions that make GCIs unique from other wooden coasters. But here, let's take the best aspects of GCI coasters and put it on the side of a mountain. So this coaster utilizes the terrain to its advantage, and it has a lot of airtime, a lot of twists and turns. It even has more than one station flyby. This coaster just looks like so much fun. I rank it in my top 25 best coasters in the world, and that is for a very good reason. This coaster just looks so insane, and I would love to ride it if I ever have a chance. At number 8, I have Lightning Rod at Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. This is an RMC ground-up Woody, and this is the very first and only, as of when this is made, launch wooden coaster in the world. It's probably going to be the only one for a long time because of how much it's not running. Its opening date was delayed and it closed for most of the 2018 season, but the ride itself looks insane. I love launches, and while Lightning Rod's launch doesn't look as forceful as other launches, it's still a better way to gain speed than using a louder lift hill. And it only gets better. This ride has some of the best pacing on any coaster I've seen, and this ride has some really crazy elements. There's a huge wave turn, a twist and shout, and the one and only quad down. That element looks like one of the single best elements ever, and you'll really feel a sensation of speed on this ride. This ride looks amazing and definitely deserves a spot in here in my opinion. At my number 7 is a very controversial spot for that coaster. I have Intimidator 305 at Kings Dominion in Doswell, Virginia. Now this may easily trigger one person, but Intimidator 305 is an Intamin Giga coaster, and this ride is known to be one of, if not the most intense coaster in the world. The first turn apparently is so intense that you can gray out or even black out on it. I've never grayed out or blacked out on a coaster yet, and it sounds like a very weird feeling. But this coaster is on this list because of how legendary this coaster is and how intense it is. But I would love to ride it so I could experience a gray out and see what that's like. If you ever grayed out on a coaster, then let me know down in the comments how it was and what was it like. At number 6, I have DC Rivals Hypercoaster at Warner Brothers Movie World, Australia. This is a Mock Rides hypercoaster, and I'm surprised it's made by Mock Rides because it acts a lot like an Intamin Hyper. You might be thinking, since it's Mock, it's going to be pretty forceless, right? Well, this hyper does a lot of stuff that Intamin Mega Coasters do, which is really good, plus it's a very long ride. I've even heard that the non-inverting loop pulls -2 Gs. So it has 4.5 Gs combined with a lot of ejector airtime, combined with the twisty layout that is very long, and it's a mock coaster, so the restraints are very comfortable, and on top of all that, you can ride it backwards. This makes for an elite coaster. I actually rank it above coasters like Hyperion, Maverick, Skyrush, etc. And the name and theme is pretty cool and has one of my all-time favorite color schemes. What's not to love about this ride? At number 5 is a legendary Woody that I've always wanted to ride. This is El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey. This is a huge wooden coaster manufactured by Intamin, and it's known to have some of the craziest airtime on the planet. I heard you could almost get bruises on your thighs because of how intense it is. It has a really steep drop, and all of its airtime hills have sustained ejector airtime, which is something that you don't get a lot on coasters. And there is one hill that people call the Rolling Thunder Hill. It is said to have remnants of the old Rolling Thunder coaster, and it's right before the twisty section. And it's rumored that on good days, that hill gives over -2 Gs. That is pretty insane. But then again, this whole coaster is insane in general. At number 4, I have Geschwortes Kernon at Hansa Park, Germany. This coaster is Gerstlauer's biggest coaster to date, and it looks absolutely legendary. You have a 200+ foot vertical lift hill that is enclosed with a huge non-inverting sea serpent roll. It's already getting really cool. The turns look very forceful, and I like how you stay low to the ground. You really get a sensation of speed on this ride. And the transitions are really insane, especially the one after that first overbank. And plus the theming looks really good, and there are a few secrets that this ride has. I won't tell you the secrets, but they will surprise you. If I take a trip to Germany, I'll make sure to include Hansa Park when I go. But speaking of a good sensation of speed, at number 3, I have Formula Rossa at Ferrari World in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. Located in the same country as the world's tallest skyscraper, this coaster holds the world record of the world's fastest roller coaster. Reaching a max speed of 149 miles per hour, you have to wear safety glasses on this ride because of how fast you're going. I, for one, love speed. I really like coasters that have a great sensation of speed. Although, to be honest, the layout is a little spread out, but it's the world's fastest coaster, so that's already one reason. But this ride would be an experience that I'll remember for the rest of my life. I, for one, love launch coasters, and that continues because my number 2 bucket list coaster is Dodonpa at Fuji-Q Highline, Japan. This ride currently has the world record of the world's fastest acceleration. This ride looks absolutely insane. I haven't ridden a lot of coasters, but the reason why I have this so high is because this is coming from someone whose number 1 roller coaster as of now has one incredible launch. When I first went on that ride, that launch felt like I was in another dimension. It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced so far in my coaster life. No pun intended. But if I thought that launch was insane, this ride will probably have my all-time favorite roller coaster moment if I ever get to ride it. Outside of the launch, this ride doesn't really do much. It does a really fast turn, a couple tunnels, a large vertical loop, and that's it. But my current favorite coaster doesn't really have much after that launch either. But this ride looks legendary, and I think it's deserving of this spot. But my number 1 spot is a coaster that looks absolutely insane. This ride has caused a lot of controversy, and it ranked number 3 on the Golden Ticket Awards. This is Steel Vengeance. This ride is so insane that I hear some people get disoriented towards the end when they don't know what's up or down. This ride is an RMC hybrid that breaks a ton of records like the tallest, fastest, longest, and most inversions on a hybrid coaster. But unlike most record-breaking coasters, which are gimmicks, this ride delivers. It has the most airtime on any roller coaster, and from what I've heard, a lot of those hills are ejector. It has everything you want in a coaster. It has the intensity, the airtime, the hang time, an amazing drop, amazing inversions, strong laterals, an awesome finale, a wave turn, good pacing, and a long ride. Some people say this isn't intense, and I know this coaster isn't the most intense in terms of positive G's, but it's intense in a different way. It packs so much into its layout. There's no boring spots besides the mid-course brake run, but that doesn't really count. This coaster looks so insane, and I think it's deserving of the #1 spot. I showed you guys my list, but I want to know, what are your top bucket list coasters? Let me know down in the comments what your bucket list coasters are. I am aware that there are so many great coasters that didn't make this list, like Hyperion, Wildfire, Helix, T-Express, Voyage, Phantom's Revenge, but if you're basing this purely on what coasters I want to ride the most, this list has them. So if you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like. I really appreciate it. And if you're new here and roller coasters are what you're into, then please consider subscribing for content all about roller coasters. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.